Nice clap job.
Thank you. Because I didn't even look at my own hair. After taking a mask on and off all morning, I'm sure it looks lovely.
And the wind blowing.
And the wind
no,
blowing.
it's not working so well.
I'm sure it's not. I don't have my phone right, look at myself.
Hey
Anyway.
friends, you're watching BrainStormAcres. I'm Henry.
And I'm Irene.
We're going to talk about a variety of topics today. First off, we're going to talk about why are we inside the house?
Well, occasionally as this video progresses, you'll probably be able to hear the rumble of thunder. There is one heck of a storm coming in. This looks like something, one of those biblical things from a D-grade movie. You know, the 9 million horses of the apocalypse are going to all zip in here and the zombies are going to eat your head and all that kind of stuff. So Jack is under the bed. Issa's by the back door peeking out, wondering what's going on out there. She knows she doesn't want to be out there, but she wants to see it just in case.
We have a lot of stuff to do outside, but I'm not going to do it today.
Yeah, I was planning to work in the studio this afternoon, but I honestly don't like working down there when I'm concerned the roof might come off. So I'll just stay in the house for now.
Well, it won't come off, but you really don't want to be down there when you have lightning strike in the area. We have a lot better protection up here.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't want to bet on that roof not coming off. We didn't build it.
The first thing that we want to talk about, and the second thing we want to talk about is the Everybitcountschallenge.
Right. This was started last year by Rovers Homestead. I think last year was mostly on Instagram. I don't remember seeing it on YouTube, but doesn't make any difference. But this year it's made the crossover. It's reappeared back on Instagram. Plus, actually, some of us kept it going pretty much all year round. Three Rivers has really kicked it in again this month rather. The challenge is to do something every day. Preserve something, do something positive. In our case, a lot of times we're not necessarily preserving things, but in the past month...
We haven't bought a vegetable in probably more than 2 months.
Right. Now, we do buy fruit because we don't have the capacity to produce cherries and apples and
bananas.
Lemons and bananas and stuff like that on the property. And some of those things, even if we had unlimited water and everything else, we would never be able to produce because of the climate. It has been pretty impressive, and if ever there was a time that I was glad that I was growing vegetables myself,
this year,
seriously worse than last year by a long shot. If you're not paying attention, they've just cut off the water supplies to the farmers in a lot of central California. That means no fresh veggies from that part of the United States, and they are one of the largest producers of vegetables in the United States. So I commented to Henry today that when I was at the grocery store, we stopped briefly on the way back from an errand this morning. Wow, the price of vegetables is double what we were paying last year. And I'm not going to say the quality is that amazing either.
It's not very good.
Some of it's pretty poor, but the green beans were horrific. But maybe that's just because I processed a big pile of my own yesterday, and I know what a fresh green bean looks like. But if ever there was a time that I'm really glad that we are sticking things in the freezer, it's right now, and that we have plans to grow all winter.
What we want to do is encourage all of you to participate in this challenge. You'll notice this show yesterday had Every Bit Counts Challenge as part of the title.
Mm-hmm.
We think it's a really good idea to do something that's going to promote your own standard of living, whether it's buying some things in bulk and canning them up, storing them, freezing them, whatever.
Right, and and not everybody has the facilities to do some things, but everybody can do something. It might just be something as simple as the next time you see beans on sale in the grocery store, instead of buying 1 can, you buy 2 or 3. And just to have stuff on hand.
Just doing a little bit at a time is a big deal.
It really is, and you'd be amazed at how fast it mounts up. I remember some friends of ours in Massachusetts, we had helped them with some of their gardening things, and them talking about they were storing their pumpkins under the beds in everybody's room because they didn't have enough places to put everything. But pumpkins under the bed in a cool house is just fine.
It works just fine. And so think about what you can do You can always put comments on our shows to tell other people about what you're doing in the Every Bit Challenge.
Right.
Every Bit Counts Challenge.
Right, and for us sometimes it's just the fact that we ate fresh for a week and didn't have to buy a single vegetable. And that's a big deal when you think about what good quality vegetables are costing. And add to the fact that if we were to actually go buy them, we'd have to be buying from the organic department and picking and choosing rather pickily in order to try and come up with something half as decent as what we're getting from the garden.
You know, if you could able to see outside right now, the rain is coming down. We're having lightning flash off in the hills. It's an interesting time.
Right, I'm trying to figure out which side, if it's hitting any particular side right now.
I also want to talk a little bit about our ongoing giveaway. If you watched the beginning of this month, you saw that Digwell Greenfingers won the July giveaway for a $25 Amazon gift card. And we've arranged for that card to go to Digwell. But I also want to let you know that every single comment that you make on our shows puts you in the running for another opportunity to win the August giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it may not be quite obvious, but you can also make comments on other people's comments. You get another entry for each one of those.
Mm-hmm.
What we want to do is we want to build a bigger sense of community among our followers. So, say something to the other people who are here.
Just don't make it rude. We have low tolerance levels for rudeness on media these days.
Now, there's another housekeeping issue that I wanted to bring up specifically, and that is YouTube appears to have been deleting comments that have been made on our shows, comments that we've made on other people's shows. So if you don't hear from us, because we read every single comment,
mm-hmm.
and we comment on every comment.
Yeah, it may just be a heart sometimes, but a lot of times it's at least a thanks for commenting. And we're not the only people who've had this problem. We've heard from other creators that they're having stuff disappear too, or stuff disappears and then a week later it reappears. Or there's obviously something wrong with the system. I know, I'm listening to the thunder. That's why I know Jack's under the bed. It's, you know, and there's nothing we can do about it. We normally start checking the comments. Well, you're up before I am usually in the morning.
Right.
And then while we're watching videos in the morning, we're commenting to people. And sometimes if we get a large number of comments, we'll split up who answers them because we both have machines. We'll both be doing our thing there, you know. And also because sometimes somebody has to get something done.
Now, I need to apologize to a lot of people who commented on our shows 2 years ago because their comments didn't show up 2 years ago, and now they're showing up. So there's a whole slew of them.
Right.
So please accept our apologies for...
Yeah, we didn't do it on purpose.
Because we do read and respond to every comment on our
Right.
shows that shows up.
Right.
Now, we'd planned a lot of other shows to do over the next couple of days, but we've been stymied primarily by the weather.
Yeah, we've got, well, we're seeing this with some of the other YouTube groups too right now that are in Arizona. You're dealing with weather, and we have another set of storms coming in. Now, we're incredibly grateful for the rain because we really need it. They have turned off the fire ban stuff in our area, but that doesn't mean we have as much rain as we need. We're hoping we'll be able to start doing some of the overflow transfers and stuff again.
Yeah, we've done very well this year. All of the water that we've used in the greenhouse has come from rainwater.
And last year we were out of rainwater for the greenhouse by March.
Right? So this is a big deal.
This is really a big deal. We figure, not counting the hydroponics, it's about 120 gallons a week for the veggies in the greenhouse.
For those of you who watched our saga about freezers, the new freezer is installed.
Mm-hmm.
It's working well.
Mm-hmm.
We lost a very small amount of food from the old freezer. All the meat was still frozen, which is really good.
Yeah.
But we got the new freezer in, and I'm happy to say that right now, everything in that deep freeze is around 4 or 5 degrees Fahrenheit. One of the things that we're having to deal with right now is we've had some moderate erosion on our driveway.
Mm-hmm.
We have ditches on both sides. One side is completely filled in by sand and silt coming down the hill.
Right.
The other side is dug down in places a foot or more. And it started off about 5 inches deep because it was supposed to funnel the water away from the road. Now the road itself is still solid. We've lost a lot of our cinders on the top of it because cinders are too light. They will float away.
And we knew that. We knew there was nothing we could do about that. This is a part of the United States where it's really hard to get good rock. Really hard. For some reason, cinders are easy. Cinders are well-aerated volcanic rock. This was a heavy volcanic area in the old days.
So cinders are cheap here, and hard rock, which is what we would prefer, is more expensive and a little more difficult to get.
And in the past, there were times when you just couldn't find anybody to haul it. Now, we found somebody recently who is A has his own equipment, B seems competent, C was timely, and had access to some good rock, who brought in some bigger stuff for us for putting in French drains.
I need to dig down all the way around the studio because there's water seeping in through the wall, not coming down the wall, so there's a little bit about that. It's really an issue of water coming in through the cinder blocks down towards the bottom. And I think probably they didn't seal the block quite well enough against the foundation, and they also didn't waterproof the block that's below grade.
Concrete is not waterproof.
No, it isn't. It's amazingly porous.
Yeah, and definitely block is definitely not waterproof. So if you have below grade things, what they normally do is they will come in and they will, you have a slab floor, and then you've got your block coming up. There needs to be some sort of waterproofing between that slab and the block, and then the outside of the block needs to be waterproofed completely underground.
You know what time it is?
Let's see. Time to talk about some of the things that I've been thinking about doing videos about.
Okay.
So I'm seeing a lot of people in the Southwest very excited right now because everything's turning green.
Well, green is interesting. Green can be good. Green can also be really bad.
So one of the things I want to do is a video on that, because it's kind of like know your green, you know. Some of these things are awesome. Some of them may be cute in the short run. Oh, those little cute little white flowers that turn into the spheres of hooks that'll, and then they'll infect your fingers and your toes. Yes, you can plant that thing. You can grow those things, but should you? And that's something we've been working on out here for years. And I think we've really learned a lot this year. And
about our place here and us and how our dietary requirements work. You know, when are we more likely to eat something, things like that. And if it's something that can be saved, say for instance, our South Anna butternut squash, assuming it doesn't get smashed again, is doing pretty well. As long as we don't have hail, we'll be fine.
We've got multiple fruits that are this big out there. So we're hoping for a large harvest. Now, we know that we have no place to store them. So they'll hold for a month, but we don't want to lose them. So we'll can them.
Right.
And that's one of the things that we can create a shelf-stable product, stick it on the shelf. It can be under a bed. It can be, you know, it doesn't have to, just as long as it's out of the sun and in a stable environment, it'll be fine.
I'll give you a sneak peek. There is something that grows out here that we discovered that even if you use some really nasty herbicides, like let's say somebody tries Roundup on it.
Won't touch it. Plant goes, Roundup, okay.
We don't use Roundup.
Nothing. Well, I know somebody who did, and nothing. Zero. For most things around here, if I use a combination of salt and vinegar, it'll kill them. There's certain things that require a little extra soap added in there because they are naturally waxy, so the wax will make the stuff go away. But yeah, no, there's some interesting issues.
Somebody's after you.
It says I should check the greenhouse. I'll be darned if I'm going out there right now. Greenhouse is fine. I watered it just before the storm hit.
Do you know what time it is now?
It is time to get going. I'm going to not be working in the studio this afternoon. I'm going to be working in the kitchen instead. The dog is under the bed. The cat is by the door watching the storm. we're going to be inside. So be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And if there's any particular things you're thinking of, issues you've got with your own garden, things you're trying to figure out in terms of how you're doing your planning, we're starting our planning, and I know it's a little late right now. I wouldn't say we're starting it. We already had started months ago, but we're trying to finalize some of our planning right now. We're trying to do that balancing act between when is it cool enough to start certain things and have them come off at the right time and all that kind of stuff.
Or come off before it freezes.
Right. Because there's some things that we have, we figure, let's see, it's almost mid-August.
Yep.
So mid-September, mid-October. Sometime mid-October we'll get hit. Now, it can happen anywhere from about the 10th or 12th of October to about the 27th of October.
We had another big thunderclap.
We did, yes. Sometimes it's mild enough that things will get burned, but they'll make it through, especially if you have them covered. Other times it'll be 22 degrees for a solid week, and everything that's not a brassica is dead.
You know what time it is now, really?
Yes, it's time to say goodbye, so...
Bye.
Bye.